BXB. It's in the game!
Hey guys, it's me Ben, and I'm back with another review. This time I'm looking at The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing number 2. This recently came out on Xbox and PS4. It's a sequel to the unimaginatively titled The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing number 1, as it were, and that was originally released as a Games with Gold title on Xbox, so it was a freebie. This, however, is not a freebie, and it's actually another game in the kind of the mid-tier, the B-tier sort of development sort of area, much like the Technomancer was, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. A game with ambition, and a game which is sort of existing in a well-trodden genre, that of the action RPG. And talking about action RPGs, I remember Diablo 3 very well, because it was actually the first game I reviewed on Xbox One, way back when, many years ago. And now this is a game by Blizzard that has been iterated on and patched and basically polished and just continual support throughout those years. They're still bringing out patches for it now, and even when that game first came out, it was a polished masterpiece, the pinnacle of the sort of action RPG genre, the isometric viewed sort of lootathon that Diablo created, and Van Helsing here is definitely sort of a direct descendant of that lineage. It wants to be better than it is. What it is a fairly simplistic experience with quite lightweight sort of feeling combat. It doesn't feel great to play. It feels janky in most places. It lacks a lot of polish. It's got sound problems and technical problems, continual frame rate issues. I even had hard crashes with the game when I was playing it as well. And this isn't a particularly cheap game, and it's the second time in as many days where I've talked about value when talking about a review. It's not something I like to talk about, but when a game is as expensive as Van Helsing 2 is, which is around £40, you kind of expect a bit more from it. Now, while there's plenty of content in this game, unlike the other game that I was talking about value yesterday when I put out the review for Carmageddon Max Damage, the game, what is here is so rote and so kind of dull and simplistic that it doesn't excite. It's filled with sort of amateurish design, and voice acting is so bad and grating. At times, it just felt uninspired. Like, Van Helsing has the heroic voice, and then, your female companion, who happens to be a ghost, by the way, has sort of the heroine voice, and then there's this creepy dude who may betray you, and he has this kind of dark and sinister gravelly voice, and it's just so obvious and predictable at every turn that it does nothing new for the genre. It kind of makes you wonder why this game exists when something like Diablo, which is such a perfect example of the genre, which sets the bar so high with its fluid gameplay, its fun, forgettable story, and its infinite replayability. You have to look at this and you have to go, why have they made this game? What market are they hoping to appeal to? And then when they've gone and made it, they've not made it well. So it's like, if they're going to make a small game, a game in Diablo's vein that comes to mind is like the Torchlight series of games. Now, those games are much smaller in scope, but they brought some innovation to the genre, and they had a brilliant art style, and they were cheaply priced, and they did what they did well. When you see Van Helsing, however, it doesn't do anything well. It does most things okay, and some things badly. And it just pulls the entire experience down. It makes you question, why have I wasted my money if you bought this? And why am I wasting my time playing it when I could be playing a better game right now in the form of Diablo on consoles or Torchlight on the previous generation? It doesn't really feel necessary, and because of that, I can't recommend it. While the experience is fine, and there's all these interesting innovations. I mean, one of the things that Van Helsing does try to do differentiate itself is give you this incredible granular control over your leveling up and your skill tree progression. And all it really does is create a massively complex interface full of hundreds of options. It doesn't really explain, especially if you haven't played the first game. And I get the impression they're definitely assuming you have played the first game with this one, because it's an almost exact copy that does nothing to really improve on the series. So you're just digging through menu after menu and interface after interface, and it's just so poorly laid out and explained and unnecessary. You want to be playing the game. You don't want to be spending hours fiddling your way through these menus and trying to level up your character and trying to level up your companion and trying to do this and trying to do that, and it's not really having the most obvious effects, and it all just feels boring and pointless. So Van Helsing 2, an apt 2 stars.
BXB. It's in the game.